The ABB FIA Formula E World Championship moves away from Tokyo in Japan to Misano in Italy. The Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli is an awesome racetrack, and it is both round 6 and 7 of the 10th season of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Free practice 1 is about to begin. Let's hand it downstairs to Nikki Shields with Karun Chanok, David Coulthard down in the pits.
Andretti Extreme E driver, Katie Munnings, and I couldn't think of what to call you, Karun. So just former F1 and former E driver Karun Chanok?
A big call worse, I'll take
that.
Yeah,
equally kick-ass.
The Oracle.
Guys, it has been an amazing start to the 10th season of Formula E. We've had 5 different race winners in the 5 races so far. Karun, where is it going to go? It's looking incredibly tight.
It is incredibly tight, and I think this is a unique circuit for the calendar. I think, you know, it's a new track, obviously, we're coming to for the championship itself, but also just the layout of the circuit is quite different to everywhere else. I think we're going to see lots of big, wide, wheel-to-wheel racing with cars maybe 3-4 abreast at times. You've got some tight chicanes. They've got to squeeze through with the walls being quite close, but I think we should be in for a cracking weekend.
Well, someone who's already got to grips with this track, DC, you were out earlier in a rather fast-looking Maserati. How was it?
Yeah, I got the full electric experience in the Maserati. Lots of acceleration, but in 2.2-ton car, braking distances a little bit longer than they're going to experience in Formula E. But as Karun's just said, I think this is 2 little reminders. It's Formula E with the second, third, fourth sequence of chicane with a nice concrete wall on the left, and likewise down 8 and 9. Otherwise, this is high-speed heaven. It's therefore going to be battery management hell, but I think it's going to lead us up to some good racing.
Yeah, it's going to be quite intense because this is a double-header race weekend. So it means, of course, we go racing Saturday and Sunday, but Sunday's race is 2 laps longer, so it's going to be really critical with energy management. But let's cast our memory back. Not that long ago, we had the inaugural Tokyo E-Prix, and wow, what a race it was. Katie, talk us through the fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing, the really tight competitive nature between Max Günther and Oliver Rowland.
Yeah, I mean, those street circuit races are so entertaining to watch as a fan, how close they are to the barriers. I think Formula E does that so well, and I was glued to the TV for that race. I think they had a really great strategy, you know, Maserati and Max able to overtake and take the win. But as you say, it is so tight between all the teams here, a completely different type of circuit here. So I'm sure that we're going to see those energy strategies really coming into play this weekend.
Yeah, it was a fantastic moment for Max Günther and the Maserati team, who can now come into this race weekend, which is kind of officially their home race. They've also got Monaco as their other official home race because their headquarters are about, well, 2 hours down the road in Modena. Karun, if you were to put your bets on, who's going to be winning this race?
You're joking, it's Formula E. I'm not betting on anything before the weekend. No, I think this is a race genuinely very different to everything we've seen so far this season, and therefore, you know, the form guy kind of goes out the window, because the reason Max Günther and Oliver Rowland were able to do what they did in Tokyo is the same as we've seen in races like Jeddah, where the tracks have been narrow. They've had the opportunity to save a whole lot of energy in places, but here they won't have the luxury, so it's going to be different for all these people at the top of the championship.
Well, indeed, let's take a look at the championship standings, because they have actually changed quite a lot since Tokyo. Pascal Wehrlein propels himself to the top for the first time with 63 points. Nick Cassidy, though, just 2 points behind his first season, of course, at Jaguar TCS Racing. Then not far behind, we've got Oliver Rowland, who's moved from 6th up to 3rd. And Jake Dennis, reigning champion there, 1 point behind on 53 points. And you can see again, Max Günther in at the top in 5th position there. Things are changing, but ultimately it's consistency in Formula E that's going to win you that championship, and that is what the likes of Pascal Wehrlein are very good at.
Yeah, and I think actually looking at a double header, it can't be taken for granted that you're going to be quick one day and then you're going to be quick again the next. We've seen it so many times in Formula E. You know, you're on the pace on the first day, struggling on the second day, and I think it's because how close the racing is. We're talking thousandths of a second still between all the manufacturers and the different powertrains out there. I don't think there's many championships in the world where that's the case anymore.
No, probably quite different to your Extreme E experience, that's for sure. Well, as you can see, Crew DC have pegged it to the commentary box as FP1 gets underway.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nick.
So, the first session is underway, finally here at Mazzano. We are all set to go. The cars venture out onto the track. Josh T's alongside me in the commentary box. And Josh T, Mazzano, usually a MotoGP circuit. Now it's a Formula E circuit. And hopefully we're going to be in for quite an interesting 30 minutes of the practice sessions. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, absolutely. I had in my mind that this was a 45-minute session, not a half an hour session.
It should be a 45-minute session, but they've put it down to half an hour. So it is half an hour for free practice 1 and free practice 2. And half an hour for free practice 3 on Saturday morning as well, to bring the rules down in Gen 3. But, yeah. Are you in a different setup? It all looks a bit different.
No, this is my normal. Just my new camera angle, pointed a little bit more down because I'm sitting, not standing.
I see. So as they come through...
If I was to move the camera without it unplugging, down here, it's unplugged. Let me get that back. Wow, everything's gone wrong.
And he's pulled the plug.
Does that look a little bit different?
Yeah, it's black screen. There you go.
There you go. Does that look a little bit back to normal?
It looks very weird. Put it back to the other one. You were sat down. It was better camera angle.
Awesome.
Hi. So, cars straight out there for the circuit then. This morning we had the rookie test 2 hours ago. And now Dennis, Van Dorn, Sita Kamara, Franz Hughes, Gunther all heading out to the circuit. Let's check in with David Coulthard in the com box.
Not only for giving me an opportunity to see around this Mazzano track, but to try and sort of get myself in the cockpit of what the drivers are going to experience. So down at this 8-9 section, this is typical Formula E, isn't it? Make a mistake, you are embedded in the tyres, very unforgiving. And I think there's so much of Formula E has been sort of favouring the drivers that feel comfortable on those very tidy racetracks.
3, 2, 1. Full course yellow.
And that's race director Scott Elkins there, just doing a full course yellow practice, usual sort of procedure that we have in free practice 1, but carry on.
Yeah, so while they go through that procedure, and it's all good learnings for the drivers, it's this open section. Everything that isn't 2, 3, 4 and 8 and 9, it's normal racetrack, and you've got so much runoff as well. Are we going to be in a situation where track limits are going to be penalised, or are they just going to leave it so it's completely open to the individual?
Okay, attention all teams. This is race control. Full course yellow ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Green flag.
Yeah, the way I understand it, Corinne, is that track limits are sort of going to be policed, but they're going to give them a fair bit of leniency to drivers this weekend.
I don't actually know what that means. You either police it, you either have a rule or you don't, so I'm not sure about the sort of police. I'm not blaming you, I believe that is what they've been told. But honestly, as a person watching, and actually if I was competing as well, I would like to just know that it's being policed everywhere because there's consistency. That's kind of, I think, what we want.
Well, I think traditionally you'd see drivers, if you stray 2 wheels past the white line, that's okay, but if it's 4 wheels past the white line, that's the limit of the circuit. But for example, when we had rookie free practice earlier on this afternoon, we had Taylor Barnard, who was out on track. He went completely wide at the final corner off the circuit and was still classified second fastest time.
Yeah, he was almost in San Marino. He was so far off track. So, in my other role, I often get very frustrated with the overly strict sort of regulations of the white line. I get it, the rule book says white line defines the racetrack, but the cars will find a natural point between sort of entry and exit apexes, and I think largely you kind of just leave them to get on with it. But it does seem here that does leave it open very much to, well, do you keep going to the gravel? What is the point where you've reached the limit? Now, oh, come on, that's... Well, look, that's probably a bit too far, would you not say, Corinne?
Yeah, but if we were in the car, we'd do the same, wouldn't we? And that's why I think the rules need to be...
You sneaky, lap-time-grabbing individual, you...
Times have changed.
He's not even denying it.
No, of course not. Why would I? 100% I'm going to do it.
It's going to be an interesting circuit, this, though, because it gets quite tight here, through 3 and 4, and then it's so fast and flowing for the rest of it. I was talking before you guys got here, energy management is going to be critical here this weekend. There's only really one big heavy braking zone of 8 and 9.
Yeah, I think this is what this practice is all about, really. They want to get their energy targets. They want to make sure that the numbers they've come up with in the simulator is correct and it correlates with what they've got on the real track. They're going to have a run at doing some fast laps towards the end of the session, but this is very much about getting some data in terms of energy management.
Yeah, I understand that Eddie Mortara won't be taken to the start of this session. In fact, won't be competing in FP1 at all due to battery-related problems with the Mahindra, which is a big disappointment for him because he was sixth on the road in Tokyo a couple of weeks ago. Ended up getting disqualified for energy overuse and not the start to his home weekend as he sees it. He's raced under a Swiss licence, but he's half Italian as well. Not what he'd have been wanting here in Lozano. Just looking at Jake Dennis and Norman Nato, they're exploring the limits of the circuit, shall we say, into 12?
Yeah, well, look, if this is the race director's position, then we'll become used to it. It just visually doesn't look right to be stealing so much of the racetrack. But maybe they're taking the view, like I just said, the drivers will find their own natural point of entry limit and exit limit, and they'll be, well, as they ran a little bit wide, I think, down into turn 2. Now, I was interested, you're saying there's only really a big braking at turn 8 and 9. I think you're right in terms of max energy, but the way I see it, certainly if I was driving, there's a reasonable brake into 1, a reasonable brake into 5, reasonable into 6, 8, 9 as you've identified, and then 12 as well. So it's not a series of short straights and big hairpins, but there's definitely recoverable energies areas on the track.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also, it was interesting watching those two Andretti cars going around. What they were doing there is running with one car right behind the other in the tow. So Jake Dennis there picking up the tow. So get energy target support. This was up at...
Yeah, that's McLaren, that's Jake Hughes.
Yeah, well, that's down at 8 and 9, Karun. Great analysis there from the World Feed commentators while we were getting things sorted. Muller is under investigation for an overpower use in regen. Cassidy's gone top, 120.138. Verline second, 120.680. Frines, Verne, Evans the top 5. Roland, Fenestraz, Nato, Ticton, Muller top 10, Gunther, Da Costa, Seta Kamara, Hughes, Dennis, Degrassi, Bird, Van Dorn, Boemi, Druvela, De Vries and Mortara. That's the 22 running at the moment. SHT's got some comments saying, hey, Joshua Alonso has signed a new multi-year contract extension to stay with Aston Martin until at least the end of 2026. Yeah, we know that. Not surprised that he did stay, but I'm surprised he didn't make a decision this early. Yeah. Hi to George as well. Here comes Gunther into the last corner. Sectors 1 and 2 are green. Will he go purple in the last one across the line? And Gunther does a time of a well, he doesn't tell us actually. 120.337. Drops down to 7th as more come through. Fenestraz to 8th place. Hughes goes into 2nd position as well, so has the time differential between the two. Boemi goes into 8th position, so changes over on the final bit of the time. And yeah, so Josh still with me as well, we're going back now. What have you made of Formula E so far this season? The thought you ever see as Frines goes on the grass at the exit of the last corner. What have you made of the series? Any good? Any differences you've changed? It's been very much disrupted over the past 4 months.
Yeah, absolutely. From what I've seen, it's been a good season, and my entry list will not stay where I want it to. There we go. Yeah, from what I've seen, it's been a good series, but yes, I have heard a lot about disruption and that. But here in Misano, and when we go to Shanghai, we'll be using a little bit of the Formula 1 circuit as well. So a couple of permanent circuits back on the Formula E calendar, and well, with the rumours that we've heard about the London E3, we may have another.
Yeah, Silverstone as well. Formula E seems to be going to more permanent circuits and losing the city centre aspect it was supposed to be, which was racing without putting any carbon into the city centres. Production could be better for them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying as well, George. It could be a lot different. As Eduardo Mortara, battery issue for Mahindra. once again has kept him out. That he's already been apologising, hasn't he? I don't know if you saw it. Mahindra this weekend, he was apologising over the radio, over in a video on YouTube, exactly what is the car's going to be going wrong. Mahindra, shocking the last couple of seasons. They've basically become what Dragon were in terms of absolutely useless with battery power. And Mahindra, last overall, both De Vries and Mortara in the pit lane. De Vries has only done one lap. And Mortara won't even get out in this first practice session at all. He'll have to do it all tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Da Costa into that last corner. Gives it the welly. Middle sector was up. Gets a little bit of a ride on the curb. And Da Costa does jump up into second position for the Porsche. 119.681. So better lap time there for Da Costa as they desperately try and fly. There's Florian modelling at the director of the factory for the Tag Heuer Porsche team, keeping an eye on everything. Hopefully it's going to be an interesting one. Is Sainz going to Merck, guys? Says George. Did you see this, JT, about the rumour that the Italian press is saying that Sainz has signed a one-on-one year deal? So a 1 year for 25 with an option on 26.
No, I have not seen this, but what I have seen is that apparently that Charles Leclerc turned up at the Shanghai circuit this weekend when it's next weekend. No, he didn't. He was in Milan launching his ice cream brand. Yeah.
So quite two different places to be, wasn't it, really? Hughes, who was in the box in FP0, the rookie practice session. He was alongside Tom Brooks and Saunders CB. Hughes has done a 119.264. He's gone fastest overall as Vernon P2 at the moment, so the gap's 0.3 of a second. This is Van Dorn in the DS Penske down to the 8-9 chicane. And just like Jess predicted in the rookie practice session, many a driver locking up at that part of the track and going straight on through the gravel trap. And Van Dorn doing exactly the same thing. Saunders is down in the pit lane. Let's head to him.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I thought, very strategy-dependent race coming up. Very important to get that strategy right. So why not talk to the strategy guru himself, Phil Charles? What are your thoughts? What's going to be needed to win this race?
Well, you're absolutely right. This is going to be a race where we call it the peloton effect. You've only got so much energy, and these laps are long laps. You've got to save a lot. So if you start the race and you slow the pace down, it effectively means you end up having more energy towards the end of the race to use per lap. And that means I can hold a guy behind me if I've got more energy much more easily than if I've got less energy to use. So you'll see that people strategically slow the race down. They won't want to lead, and if they do lead, they'll slow the race down a lot. And that's what kicks off the peloton effect. We're all jostling for position because we don't want to lead, or we want to slow the race down, and that backs the pack up. So you're going to see two very, very strategically interesting races. The drivers have to get their elbows out at certain times in the race and position themselves to be able to go to the front at the key time when it starts to lock out. So it's going to be two interesting races. The drivers have got a big part to play, but also the teams have to wear those drivers
yellow flag.
And make sure they understand the race that's ahead of them. And as it unfolds as well, the pace, as it slows down more or less,
he's got going.
When that point of inflection or that point of lockout starts to come. So two very interesting races. Got to prepare well and then be ready to get the elbows out.
Excellent insight.
Just
as always. Thanks, Phil.
No problem. Catch you later.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, Gunther stopped to turn 12, but he's got going apparently. So we'll keep an eye on that one.
12. Let's have a look on board. You can see he's off the circuit here, off the racing line. And computer says no by the looks of things. The question is, can he get that car IS going again? That's important, actually, because otherwise there'd be a red flag thrown there and it would cost the drivers a fair bit of running.
Yeah, not far away from that final turn 14 and the pit lane entry just before it.
Very slowly in towards the pit lane entry area.
So he's coming in now on the back of the track, so he will still get in on that part, but...
he stopped again.
Oh, it's on the entry to the pit lane. At the last penultimate corner, yeah. Let's hope that doesn't red flag the session. I don't want it to red flag the session, but knowing it does. Race control.
You're going to have... Stop at the entrance at the pit entry.
Oh, right, so Gunther hasn't made a match.
Yellow flag, turn 14.
You're going to have more cars. So, yes, you can control your two cars. Maybe if you're aligned in terms...
Yeah, so Roland stopped at 14. Barnard was good earlier. SHT agrees. And Sainz in an interesting position in the driver market now. And what's going on?
Sorry, into the lead in one move. You can't control all of them, right? So
Track clear, he's got it going again. They're going to push him in. They're going to push him into the pit lane. So just a bit of caution there for a time, which does make sense, as then we're not completely over it for this session as they come through the chicane at 8 and 9. Pit entry's closed.
Okay, so there we are. Gunther's been able to get back into the pit lane, and that's all good.
Right, so Gunther's got back in, so they've managed not to red flag the session, but bad news for Max Gunther. Where is he on the timing? 14th overall in this last session, so he's going to have a lot of time to improve around out there on the circuit. But Hughes on a 1:19.264, Verline 1:19.328, Vern 1:19.640. Again, we'll be changing the times between them. So this is going to be a little bit of an interesting one, as we hear from Gunther now on the radio.
You were trying to work it out, weren't you?
It's a good portion of the win.
Did you add any alarm on the dash?
No news. No alarm on the dash. We didn't hear any more information on that front as Seta Kamara comes through. First sector down by half a second in the ERT. 20th at the moment. Jeruvala and Mortara below him. Jeruvala's done a 1:21.3, but no other lap times have been set. The Mahindra of Nick de Vries has moved up into 17th position, for knowledge of you all back at home. So there is a difference there finally starting to come through on that monitor of action that we've all been keeping an eye on. As we'll just turn on the weather information graphic, as it hasn't done it here on OBS, which is very, very, very annoying. Yeah, you can see track temperature 35 degrees C at the moment. Seta Kamara's up to 18th place, 1:25.05 as he's coming across the line on our camera. They've resurfaced parts of the track here at Mazzano. It is super smooth on the circuit, as that is Gunther with the development tyres shoved on the front. So, yeah, slight changes that had to be adjusted there. Let's hand it over then to the world feed.
Free practice one. See that Pascal Verline we look at here, the championship leader, stole it off Nick Cassidy in Tokyo after a bit of an interesting showing for Nick Cassidy down in 8th place. Not Jaguar's day. We saw his teammate Mitch Evans ending up in the wall. And, of course, no points on the board as a result of that. Verline, meanwhile, getting himself into 5th position at the checkered flag. Enough points for him to take over the lead of it.
That chicane is tight, isn't it? It is. Like, and the curb or the
Oh, for God's sake, stop doing that. It's mid-session and they go to an ad break. I'm so annoyed with TNT Sports. You've got 10 minutes to go in the session. Oh, well, let's just put in a random ad break. They don't do that with MotoGP. MotoGP's on right now and they don't do it. Muller's under investigation for overpowered during region. That's been there since the start of the session. We'll keep an eye on that one. But yeah, just getting ridiculous, especially when these sessions, the practice sessions, are on YouTube as well. So it means that we have no information at all, but we've got the YouTube up now, up here in the comms box. Hopefully it'll load and we'll be able to hear a second on it, but it's not doing much, sadly, so it's not even loading for us. So for the time being, you can't watch it.
Road car.
There we go.
Maserati road car that went round. So, haven't experienced a Formula E. How reactive?
Well, we're waiting. And it's buffering. JT, don't you just hate these things?
Are they to... It's quite a step curve, Curran.
Yeah, because of the low profile tyres, you see none of the drivers actually attacking.
Right, so we're on ×2, try and get that working. Because it's really not, and it's being a pain in the behind anyway. What's going on to Cassidy's fastest at the moment. Here we go.
I think, as he comes to the timing line and does. So good lap time there for him. Teammate Mitch Evans also just slotting himself into 5th place. Bit of an important weekend for Jaguar. Just mentioning, of course, both drivers having difficult weekends. One in Tokyo for Mitch Evans, and then, of course, in Sao Paulo just before that, we saw Nick Cassidy also ending up in the barrier. It's been a challenging time for them as of late, and they'll be hoping to sort of bounce back. And given that efficiency is kind of going to be the name of the game, if you look at Porsche, you look at Jaguar, you look at Nissan, they've been the most efficient powertrains this year. So there's every sort of bit of evidence there, DC, to suggest that they're going to be the ones to watch.
Yep, I think that you start building up a sort of form book, don't you? And although this is quite a different track, confidence carries if you've got your systems working, if the drivers are understanding really how to manage everything well. And the strategy, I think, quali's important clearly, but nowhere near as important as how they run this race. So I think that they will be more focused on that than maybe at other tracks.
I think, though, you look at the last race, and Maserati had good energy management, didn't they, with Gunther there. So you've already named 3 manufacturers. That adds a 4th.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, 4 times, you've got 4 manufacturers, 2 teams each.
Yeah.
I think they've all got 2 teams, haven't they?
Well, you've got DS and you've got Maserati.
Yeah,
same
yeah.
powertrain.
So that's all. So that is. You're looking at 16 cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Who could all potentially win this race. We've all sort of got good energy management.
5 different winners in 5 races. There's every possibility to suggest it could be 6 from 6. But Webby here looks a little bit frustrated as he just comes across the line down to the first corner. He'll be having a chat with this man, team principal Sylvain Filippi. Wonder what's gone on there. To see drivers, by the way, when their names flash pink, that means they're on an attack mode lap. So that gives them 50 kilowatts more power. So they normally run in 300 kilowatts. And then when they go up to 350, that's what they would use in attack mode or when they're in the duels and so on and so forth. So that's just to indicate that some of the drivers are getting those attack laps in now. So Cassidy still fastest then, Verline and Dennis in 2nd and 3rd place. So now just under 8 minutes remaining of this session. I was looking a bit sketchy through that chicane there.
Someone's going to end up doing more than giving a little kiss to the exit barrier.
He took a nibble, didn't he, off the big curb?
Yeah.
Mitch Evans, it looked like on the inside exits there.
It's just too tempting, isn't it? Even just coming back to what I said earlier about, quality maybe less important here than other tracks. When you're red mist of, full attack, you just got to try and steal what you can there, and it's a pretty unforgiving section there at 8 and 9.
See, Freitz goes 3rd quickest, Evans into 4th place there as well. Be interesting to see how this session sits out. Wonder if we'll see this man back out on track. Max Günther, we saw him coming to a stop at turn 12. And let's see whether he's going to be able to get that car back out for the last minutes of this session. Crucially, of course, to get a practice start would be important, even if it is going to cut short his running here in this session. Van Dorn also improving in time. It looks like we are going to get Edo Mortara out on track. So we saw him sitting there with his helmet on in the, what you would call it, the technical area with the team. There is a proper name for that, but I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, well, the engineering racks is what I would refer to it as, but I am considerably older than yourself. For my terminology,
just seen
maybe a little bit behind.
On the back of Mortara's steering wheel, it had Mortara. He's on his spare steering wheel.
I wonder if it was a steering issue, do you think? Yeah, do you reckon it was a steering issue then, JT?
Possibly. They said battery issues that may have been linked.
Van Dorn up to the line. What time does he do? It's 2nd fastest on a 1:18.162. Cassidy 1:18.142 on the monitors. We've finally got our message TV pictures back out there on the circuit. Vern looking quick. Although he was, because Sector 2's been taken by Cassidy. So Vern will get a tow across the line. He'll go fastest overall. And it's a 1:17.914, 2 tenths faster than Cassidy, who has that middle sector time and middle ground as he comes into the last corner, gives it the welly. Cassidy should be able to find the time, will be able to find the time, and goes 7 thousandths of a second faster to Vern, to 1:17.907. Very good lap time there for Cassidy, and Jaguar continuing on the performance with the powertrain that we saw this morning, the McLaren, of course. Better run, better run. So, 5 minutes left of the session. Then we'll have a 10-minute break and we'll be lined up with MotoGP to get going from the Americas Grand Prix. 45 minutes ahead for that one. No idea who's going to be around in the box that one. I'm used to being solo in that one, but if anyone's around behind the scenes, I'll do most of talkie. Muller still pushing hard.
I can go behind the scenes if you want, Joel.
If you want to go behind the scenes, I can pop you behind the scenes.
That works.
Muller looking better with his time on the board. 2/10 down on the overalls at the moment. But he's got a personal best in sectors 1 and 2 as well, has Muller. He's in P9 at the moment, but 27.619, 22.275, so it's not exactly a bad time here from Nico Muller. Good. Should be able to find it across the line. And Muller takes it now to third. 1:18.146 as he comes to that first corner. Short run to the first corner here this weekend, from the start to the finish line, as you can see on the battle screen. It's a little bit of a change, but it's not that big of a run. So, Cassidy 1:17.97. What about DaCosta in the Porsche? Let's hear it. He's with James Barclay, he's with Saunders.
With James Barclay, as it looks at the timings, things are pretty good for Nick.
Yeah, it's FP1. There's a long way to go, but yeah, it's an important session just to get a view of what the track's like in comparison to the simulator, and just seeing if we've got a good operating balance and preparation ahead of tomorrow.
So coming off the back of Tokyo, I think obviously a better result was on the cards, but really, really good display of performance from Cassidy. Just talking about him to begin with, what's possible for the race? Because we know this is really going to separate the cats amongst the pigeons.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, Tokyo wasn't an ideal weekend for us. The reality is we had good car performance. We just didn't extract a great weekend. You know, it happens, and yeah, we've taken away the learnings from that weekend. But yeah, this race is a completely different game, right? Tokyo, that traditional Formula E, 90-degree corners, bumpy, the jumps, it was everything you see from Formula E. This is complete opposite. You know, really fast, really smooth. It's going to be a big strategic race for sure. Both races of this weekend are going to be a very much a peloton strategy style race. So yes, qualifying is always important, but ultimately it's going to be about timing your strategy, managing your energy accordingly, positioning the cars correctly, and being there at the end to try and fight for the podium.
I'm sold. Thanks, James.
Cheers, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, James. Thanks.
Saunders CMV there as well, getting James Barclay's view as across the line comes Frines and goes 12th on a 1:18.963. Evans in 10th, improving, and Jaruvula is now under investigation for a technical infringement with a minute to go in the session. Oh, nice.
Well, that could be anything.
Yeah, could be anything across the board there. All right, so it looks like I'm doing some cycling in between these sessions. I better change my jeans at this point. Oh, nice. Excellent. So Evans across the line goes into third position. 1:18.103 puts him up there as well. Oh, great. That would actually help a lot. So Muller fourth, Van Dorn in sixth position.
2/10 gap.
Yeah, not looking too bad at all. So it looks like I'll be doing some cycling over the next 3 days as well, which would be quite interesting. Let's have a look then at off the track there, JT, catching the grass. That's going to be a big factor in the race tomorrow. We see it in MotoGP a lot, this track. That last corner, the curb is raised and it sort of hooks you on with the undertray of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep an eye on that. A little bit wide there. Both of those cars of the Freeze, I believe, as well. As in 7 seconds, the checkered flag will go out.
Big lock up from the 21
but
out
also,
there of De
as
Vries.
well, the 8 and 9 chicane, they'll have a go over the gravel a lot.
Yeah, Jess.
Just a little bit of lag.
Yeah, Jess said that that would happen as well in the first session. The rookies this morning, we saw them. She said that the professional drivers will be having problems out there too, and she was spot on. There's the flag. Van Dorn, Cassidy, Verne, Jaruvula, Evans, Muller. But Van Dorn goes top, 1:17.743. Bird first sector, personal best. Second sector is down a little bit, but Bird 17th at the moment. Where's he going to go? 8th across the board. So Bird moves up to 8th. 4 tenths down. Porsche big wide at the back corner there. As he took the flag, NATO in the Andretti as well, taking it. Checker flags are out then. Session concludes here in Mazzano. Oh, and Vern steals it at the last second. 1:17.546 for Vern. Rockets up the timing board. Great job there. And De Vries across the line 19th, stays in 19th. And it looks like everybody now has taken the said checkered flag. So it's Vern.
And the checkered flag marshal's going for it as well.
Yeah, it really was. I want that tomorrow as well, on Sunday with the 2 races. So Vern, Van Dorn, Cassidy, Jaruvula, here's Vern's radio.
They always seem to be
decent enough to be P1. Really? Yeah. I like this. I like this.
It's a 1-2 as well for DS Penske as they practice the starts. It's Vern, 1:17.546 by 0.2 of a second to Van Dorn in second. Then it's Cassidy third, Jaruvula fourth. That's impressive for Maserati. Evans fifth, Muller sixth, Buemi seventh, Bird eighth, Verline ninth, Sete Kamara is 10th, Da Costa 11th, Roland 12th, Tickton 13th, Degrassi 14th, Hughes 15th, Felestraz 16th, Dennis 17th, Friens 18th, De Vries 19th, NATO 20th, Gunther and Mortara 21st and 22nd. JT, what did you make of that opening session of the day? Well, the opening session of the weekend.
It was a good session as we've got practice starts. That's the 8 of Sam Bird and the 16 of Remy going off on that go. But yeah, it was a good session, and as expected from a lot of people, turn 8 and 9 is proving to be difficult as we've got the next start.
And away goes the Mahindras. That's De Vries heading down to turn 1 on his own.
I'm going to compare it to the Brands Hatch Winter Rally stages where they go Brands Hatch but reverse.
Yeah.
So they come out of Druids and they go down Hellwood's Rise, up Paddock the other side.
Yeah.
And it's a tight chicane, a tight tyre wall chicane. And if they lock up the tiniest bit, they have to go straight into the gravel, and it's exactly what is the case here as well.
So that concludes our coverage of the first practice session here at Mazzano. Free practice 2s tomorrow morning, early in the morning as well, followed then by qualifying and the E-Prix. Next up on JB Motorsports is our coverage of the Americas Grand Prix for MotoGP. Vern and Van Dorn end day 1 here at Mazzano, P1 and P2. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.